All right, everybody, welcome to our Forum Club Expert Sesh. I'm excited because we have Kaden Beckstead today, who has been working on a project for a while to help our industry. There's a lot of people that need education, as you know. And in the 401k space, we have this trust where we come in and help a lot of people. And Kaden has built this app called Stockmotion. He's the CEO and founder, and it has been built to help more people learn about investing, be educated, get a chance to try and learn and make it a little bit fun, add some gamification to it. So I met Kaden a while back, and I wanted to have him on the show to just give us some ideas and sense of what he's building and possibly work with him to really get his app out to more people to make our jobs and make us look even more valuable, right? Or be more valuable. Kaden, welcome to the club.
Thanks for having me, Jake. Really appreciate being here.
Yeah, glad you're here. I'm excited about this because I get questions every time I go to meetings, a lot of times about individual stocks. People are messing around Robinhood, they're jumping on Coinbase, and it's hard to really help them and educate them when you've got someone that doesn't even know what a stock is and you got somebody that's owning and trading daily. So tell us a little bit about your background. How did you end up with this whole idea and get into what it is and how we can use it?
Yeah, definitely. So my story goes back a little ways. Back in school, when I first started studying, I thought I was going to go the finance route. And I started going down that route, did an internship doing wealth management. And I got in, and this was right during the first kind of hype of Bitcoin. And I noticed that there was a lot of my co-interns who, we were working for a wealth advisor, a reputable firm with a really good, kind of solid understanding of the principles, working with a lot of high net worth individuals, and a lot of my co-interns, we're getting into some really speculative things, just which, is, on the side, it is what it is, but they were showing that they were missing a fundamental understanding of the basics.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there thinking, like, if these are the people who are, they were supposed to be like, getting in and being experts in a sense. And I was working with these people and hearing some things that were really scaring me. And it wasn't just there, it was even worse outside. I was hearing a lot of things that just showed a lot of excitement around investing, but not a lot of background knowledge. And so that's when the idea was first formed. But, you fast forward a couple of years and I started learning coding. So I actually ended up graduating doing computer science, but through school, I kind of brought my two worlds together, the finance background and, passion that I have for finance and investing, but with the technology. And I just really wanted to build something that would help people. I wanted to build something that would help a new age of investors capitalize on all the hype that there is around investing in cryptocurrency and just all these exciting new things coming out, but also make sure that they're not skipping from step 0 to step 10 and doing all these speculative things and then becoming disenchanted when they lose money and not investing at all for retirement. So yeah, that's my background. That's why I got into this area.
I love that you brought them together. I had a similar experience. I was trying to be a dentist. I got waitlisted and I was like, this is going to go on forever. I was always interested in the business side of dentistry. Like I wanted to run the business. So I always had that, that I did an economics degree. Right. And so now I help dentists with saving on taxes. So it came together, but yeah, it's funny how that path through college and through just life experiences can really, change where we didn't think it was going to go. And I even find it interesting as we watch people graduate or get their first real job, and no one's really even taught them about taxes or what your payroll is going to, like how your pay is going to work, like what to put this money now that you're making real money. Like, I always thought that was a huge problem because people just come out and get a job and it's like they see these exciting things happening in the market and they think they can get in and they don't fully understand it. So I think you're really onto something because I've noticed this trend for a long time as well. It's a big deal.
Absolutely.
So you founded Stockmotion. It's already up and running, right? I mean, you're on the App Store. It is built, basically you originally kind of launched it for B2C, right? I mean, right to the customer, the end user. But you're kind of now adding this element of where's the 401k component fit into that? So yeah, tell us, when did you get it launched? When did it first be put out? When was it out there in the App Store?
So our very first version, I worked with a couple of my friends through school, the last semester of my schooling, and we created a version 1, really quick and dirty MVP, and put it on the App Store. And that would have been the end of 2019, very start of 2020, thereabout. Okay. And from there, we realized hey, this is a cool idea, but we need to go all in on this. And so we scrapped that first version. That was actually for an entrepreneurship competition, which we actually ended up winning, which was exciting for us. But we ended up scrapping that one and starting a new. And so this app has been on the App Store for since this last summer. So coming up on, I don't know, 10-ish months or so.
Okay. Wow. So you got it launched. I mean, are you been bootstrapping this the whole time, or is this something that's been funded?
Yeah, no, this is something we're bootstrapping. And again, kind of like you pointed out, like our vision for this is to help people develop financial literacy, especially when they may not have the means or the background knowledge to get online and start reading some of these articles. There's a vast trove of knowledge available on the internet. The problem is it's not in a format that people are comfortable reading, especially younger generations.
Yeah.
These are articles, these are textbook type, videos, there's, things like that. And I really just wanted to make something that people can get on and learn and become better equipped to save for their goals, whatever their goals are, and have the future that they want to have. And so that's kind of the philosophy behind what we did. So we've been on the App Store for a little bit now, geared mainly towards just end users right now, not even worried about monetization, just making sure that this is a product that is helpful for people and valuable for people. And one of the reasons, we're talking today is we think that we have a great plan in place to help get this in through 401k advisors to plan participants and really spread our mission. And that's something that we're excited about, is getting this out to as many people as possible. But as part of that, having there be a lot of value provided to every party that touches this along the way. That's one of our core drivers right now.
Yeah. And as I think through, a lot of people's first introduction to investing in general is when the 401k meeting pops up in their first real job. Like that's what happened to me, and it was a bad experience. So that opportunity can be really pivotal for somebody's future if they get motivated to take action and understand it. But trying to like wrap your head around the investment world, and you turn on CNBC, you go to Reddit, you go wherever, like there's always somebody on both sides of the debate, right? And so whenever I find advisors that want to lead with their knowledge of how good they are at picking which investments, like I just laugh, because it's impossible to do. But there are really fundamental things that are important from an education standpoint, from a structure of how things operate, how kind of accounts. And there's just so many things to learn that don't have to necessarily be advice. And I think that's kind of the area you're playing in, right? You're trying to teach people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we steer clear of giving any specific advice or anything like that. What we're trying to do is, I think there's a lot of assumptions made. Like when somebody meets with an advisor, it's like they have to already have some basis to even know that they should be speaking with an advisor. There's a lot of these people who just know they don't know, but they don't know where to start. They don't know how to start. And so what we want to be is that very, very first step that they take is, what even is the stock market? What even is gambling? You've heard of, cryptocurrencies, NFT, like how does that fit into this world? What is investing as an idea? And how do you take those first steps? We believe, personally that or as a company, I should say, that meeting with advisors is an important part along that, with financial advisors, I should say, is an important step along that journey. We're trying to be that precursory step that gets people the basis and the foundational knowledge so that they know what they don't know, and they know what they need to do to fill in the gaps so that they can get to where they want to be.
Yeah. And that's the thing, people get help too late. They've made all these mistakes, and the industry doesn't do much to help it, because the way that advisors are paid, they're going to go after the people that have money. So there's this weird gap between who needs it and how to really get them on the right path versus where advisors can actually make a living. And it's just a real struggle that I continually run into. And that's where the 401k is caught in the middle, because a lot of times they'll come to us because they don't really have any attention from any other advisors, but because we're part of their plan. And if you have a lot of employees, like how on earth are you going to provide that level of service they need? So
absolutely,
technology's got to be part of that solution.
Yeah. And that kind of, brings us around to like how we fit into this whole ecosystem is we want to help plan participants with a kind of a personal touch. We've created a curriculum that includes games, lessons, quizzes, and all kinds of content that is personalized. As somebody works through the curriculum, we generate more personalized content. We share no advice, but just increasing amounts of information that's kind of built on prerequisite information, helping them to get where they want to be, and ultimately leading into this is why you should be investing right now. Even if, however much money you're making, if you can save anything, even just a few dollars a month, if that's all you can do, you should be doing that. Because, okay, do you know what compounding interest is? No. Let's explain that. Let's build all these building blocks and help them to get where they need to be.
Yeah, and a lot of people I find are sitting on a decent amount of cash. They're kind of scared of what the future holds, and the banks aren't paying any interest, right? Interest rates are crazy low, and then inflation's happening. So that at the same time, they're losing money when they think they're doing the right thing. And turning from saving to investing is where help them bridge that gap of the difference between the two. So there's a huge problem happening that's only going to get worse. I really feel in the next short term. Hopefully, things get figured out, but it's to see someone's fear in their eyes as they talk to me about I can't afford this kind of stuff anymore because it just keeps going up, but then they're sitting on cash, and it's sad for me because I really do care for each person I talk to. When I sit down with them, I want to help them. And it's just not enough time in the day for me to help all of them understand the fundamentals. So absolutely. Yeah. So take me through kind of what is Stockmotion from when someone gets in, what is the experience? Are you going to show slides today, or are you going to just chat through it?
Let me pull up some visuals here.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's a great question. So yeah, let me just kind of back up for the viewers, what even is Stockmotion? We've kind of hinted around that, but just going into it, like we were saying, it's a game with the ultimate purpose in helping people develop financial literacy. In its current stage, we're really focused on investing, but this, the idea can grow beyond. It's not just investing, it's about how do we develop, or how do we help people develop a confidence in their financial situation. Mm-hmm. And we think that investing is one of the first ways to start in on that. But I mean, as a product, this really focuses on three main pillars. The first being a curriculum, like we were talking about, with lessons, activities, quizzes, things like that. And then moving into a trading simulator that uses fake money but real market data and prices and things like that, so that they can kind of get their feet in the water and get comfortable with what trading actually is. And then this is all built around, and this is kind of the glue that ties us together, is a leveling system that's built on experience points. And the experience points, or XP, is awarded as players progress through the curriculum, but also as they make wise investment decisions in the portfolio. I should say the simulator. And I'll get more into that a little bit later, but that's
the game component, right? That's the fun version of it. I mean, we kind of compared it when we were first talking about Duolingo, where you want to learn a language, and the way that they've kept people engaged to do that, because you get busy and that's what happens to people. They worry for a second about their finances, and then they go to something that helps them escape that problem, right? That's what we do. We're naturally going to go look for what's going to get our mind off of what's troubling us. But you've made it a way that this can be a little more fun, something you could escape to, while at the same time learning about a really important aspect that you need to help, fix in your life.
Absolutely. So we're really focused on the gamification, making this simple, bite-sized, enjoyable for people to get into, but not so daunting. I mean, there's a lot investing. There's boundless depths of information and things that you can learn and continue learning about with investing, but we're not focused on all of that. We're focused on, all right, let's just talk about what it is, why you should do it, and then we grow. We get into some more advanced concepts later on in the game, but we're trying to help people feel comfortable. And hey, investing doesn't need to be scary. It doesn't need to be, a casino, and it doesn't, where you're worried about losing all your money, and it doesn't need to be boring. It can be fun and exciting and still safe, and ultimately one of the best things that you could be doing right now.
Yeah, you can even get that same enjoyment of buying something, something nice for yourself, go shopping, and do that with investing. I mean, that's kind of, I think if you can bridge that gap and get yourself to that level where it's fun and exciting for you, I just bought this stock or this whatever, wherever you're putting your money. And I think that's why it's getting some traction with Robinhood, because it's a little more fun, a little more easy, and people are getting that same kind of feeling as if they were to go shopping and buy something for themselves. But now it's increasing their net worth.
Absolutely. Well, it's funny that you should mention that, because one of the things that I was going to talk about is, we know that there's this massive excitement around investing right now. It's never been easier. There's never been as many tools. It's been talked about. But when you kind of go back to step one with all of this, FINRA sends out their regular studies on financial literacy rates across the country, and their bar for financial literacy is very modest. But when you look at the results of their most recent findings, from 2009 to 2018, there was a pretty big decrease in an already fairly small number of people who were considered financially literate. And on top of that, with very modest bar for what financial literate actually means, financially literate means, this rate is dropping at almost 1% per year over this time period. I wish I had more recent numbers. This is the most recent that they've put out. Hopefully they'll have something new coming out. But
I wonder if that has to do with just the fact of the markets, like returns have been pretty positive. Now we're kind of just used to it, right? It's like when the turmoil happens, when the market drops, that's when everyone dives in and tries to understand what's going on. I mean, maybe that, I don't know. I'm trying to think, why would that trend be happening? Because you would think it'd be going the other way with the way that we can communicate ideas now, but
yeah, absolutely.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a strange thing, and it's even worse among like 18 to 34-year-olds. And it's sad to see, because that's the age group that investing should be at the top of their mind. They should be doing as much as they can, setting aside what they can for, be it retirement or a down payment on a house, or whatever they should be doing to be saving for their mid to long-term goals. And if these are people who haven't received a financial education, then they're probably not doing these things, or they're doing these things in ways that are misaligned from their long-term goals. And that's kind of sad and scary for people, especially fiduciaries that are helping them.
Yeah.
So, kind of going back into that, like we've seen a tremendous amount of interest. When you look at some of these numbers, this is Google search trends. It's been on an absolutely almost perfect trend line of growth. When we look at the right, these are numbers from TikTok, which is one of the newest social media platforms. And these are the number of views associated with each hashtag. And those are billions. TikTok's only been out since, I believe, 2016. So there's no shortage of interest in this idea. But I think when you combine the low rates of financial literacy with high rates of interest, you get a lot of buzz, you get a lot of talking about this. So we thought that would be a good thing. We jumped into TikTok and started following the trends, and we did come across some good videos, but they were harder to find. The content that was good, true, solid principles were not as trending. What was trending was videos like these. And, again, I don't share these screenshots to disparage the creators or to tell you that they're wrong or foolish or anything. But what I'm trying to say is, when you combine, young investors who are excited about investing, but who've never received a financial education, so they go to these sources of information that are, misguided or ill-intentioned, or even if they have good intentions but have zero fiduciary responsibility, they're getting advice from people who are saying things that may or may not be true.
Yeah,
and
it was a lucky thing that happened, or it's not true. You're totally right.
Yeah.
And they get excited about it, and and it ends up in a bad result.
And the saddest thing is when these people get burned early, a lot of the people that we've talked to have become disenchanted with investing because they take out a bunch of money, put it into a random cryptocurrency thinking it's going to go up because they heard from one of their friends on social media that it was going to go up. Then it goes down, and then they sell it and they've lost a bunch of their money. And now they're like, I don't like investing.
Yeah.
It's hard to expect anything otherwise when that happens so frequently.
Yep. Especially now with crypto and what it's done the last few weeks. I mean, people are just panicked, right? And if you're worried in a month, that's the wrong thing to do. And so you're totally spot on there.
Absolutely. So this is where we'd like to see ourselves fitting into this picture. So, keeping the young investors, people who are like thinking about this at younger ages than before, there's still a lot of excitement around it. But if we can intervene before they go in and get burned, we can essentially be a resource that helps them to develop a strong financial underpinning. Well, then we've just helped them extend the runway for compound interest by 3, 5, even 10 years in some cases. And when that translates to dollars and cents, that's massive. So that's where we see ourselves fitting in to this picture with people, is kind of being a tool that helps them to become more comfortable with the idea of investing before they actually get in and make these mistakes that decrease their interest over time.
Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. So they get in there, and kind of the first step is, so you educate them, right? And that's kind of different modules, different things that they can learn, and then get actually trading experience without real dollars.
Yeah, and with our trading simulator, like I kind of hinted to, or alluded to this earlier, but the way that we gamify this is it ties the curriculum and the trading together through leveling system rewards. So when players go in and manage a portfolio, and they are diversified, they are buying and holding, they're buying low, selling high, they're not doing panic sells, lots of frequent trades over time, we're giving them XP. We're basically reinforcing these positive behaviors that have proven for the past 100 odd years to result in good outcomes. So we're essentially gamifying this before they get into this, so they kind of have a good contextual understanding of what does investing actually mean, rather than what do you see in social media videos.
Right.
So I'm sure that for anybody watching this, 401k advisors, they're wondering, like, how does Stockmotion tie into the 401k realm? And I wanted to talk to that a little bit. So if you think about it, just from a high level, we as Stockmotion and financial or 401k advisors share a lot of the same goals. We want to teach financial literacy. We want to help individuals reach their financial goals. And ultimately, we want to increase plan participation, retirement plan participation. And we feel like this synergy of focus brings out a lot of exciting opportunities to partner up. And so we've developed something that we think might be of interest to some 401k advisors. And this is kind of how it works. It's a fairly straightforward process. As far as the logistics of it, we get connected and you create an account. And basically you'll get an email with a big accept invite button, and you click on that. And then after that, you'll be asked to provide, username, password, basic stuff. You get in, and then you can create a group for each of your plan sponsors, or whatever way makes sense for you to group your clients.
You can do it, per plan, or you can do it for your whole firm.
Yeah.
And you can, is there branding involved, or is it just like, what does that really mean as far as they're creating the group?
Yeah.
Is their name going to be in there? Is their logo going to be there?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So as far as this part of the process, it's literally just a semantic grouping for you as the advisor. Like, how do you segment your people? Do you do 401k plans for businesses? And if so, then would it make sense for you to clump end users into these businesses? And the reason why is because some of the features that we offer are group based. So it's important to have these end users in buckets that are of similar groups.
Are they like comparing each other? Like, so not really showing on anything, obviously, that would be something that shouldn't be shared, but they're kind of competing with each other in the group.
So one of the features that we are working on right now, we're getting ahead, is
Sorry.
No, you're reading my mind. So one of the things that we're working on is investing tournaments in these groups. And now when I say that to advisors, a lot of like red flags go up, and they're like, oh no, I've heard some bad things about tournaments. You think of these where you have like a 3-month period, and the winner is whoever made the most money. So they go all in on some meme stock that's on a tear, and they just happen to win. Now they think they're a great investor. And we've actually done them harm. Well, okay, so instead, when we do our tournaments, what it is they're competing based off of how much experience points that they earn over that period of time. And again, those experience points come from portfolio management skills. Like, do you maintain a good ratio of diversification? Do you keep some of your portfolio in cash? Do you buy low, sell high? Do you, I think there's like 12 or 15 factors that we're currently considering, and all of those get computed and turned into XP. And that's how we're ranking, in addition to the portfolio growth, players who are essentially winning these tournaments. So what we can guarantee, or at least get as near to as guarantee as possible, is when players are playing this, we're reinforcing good behaviors rather than bad ones, or at least enabling bad behaviors and saying, look at you, you're a winner. You went all in on some crazy risky thing. And so that's tournaments. And that's why grouping makes sense, is if you're going to run a tournament for this group, this might be company A versus company B. It may not make sense to have mixed employee, like from different companies, against each other. That may not make sense.
Right.
So that's kind of where the grouping comes into play. But really at this stage, what it is for the advisor is just a way to segment their users so that they can better get information that's targeted for that grouping. But the next step beyond that is literally just sending out invite links. And as shown in this GIF here, you can go in and copy the invite link. Each group has its own invite link. So when a player signs up with an invite link, they can go download the app, and then they are automatically linked to your account through this group, and they have access to the entire curriculum. Now, the app that's in the app and Play Store right now is a smaller version of a curriculum built towards retail trading. We have different curriculums that we are rolling out for 401k advisors that are a little bit more targeted towards, you get a lot of that base stuff, but it's also really focused on the 401k or IRA, just retirement plans, talking about, really just trying to be relevant for between the advisor and their audience. But, I'll get a little bit more into that, I think. But the last step is just literally watching the users roll in. When they sign up, they'll show up in your dashboard and you can see everyone who's signed up.
Nice. Okay.
So that's like the logistics behind how this works. But here's why we're doing this. So when we're talking about like value to each party, we're talking about three parties. We're talking about the plan sponsor, the end user or plan participant, and then the advisor. And for the plan sponsor, they're getting value out of this too. So essentially, they're getting access to a high-tech wellness or lifestyle benefit. So this is, in an age where businesses are looking for corporate activities that include the whole company or kind of fun and result in good outcomes for the employees. This is something that we think that they'll be excited about, especially if they can run these tournaments. These kind of result in a lot of cool opportunities for their employees, and they can, they can kind of take this as a benefit that you as the advisor are giving them, and it's for free. It's
something in their benefit package, right? That came about because the 401k advisor, it kind of touches on a few other areas, maybe HSAs and other things they could be doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
We'd already talked about the company-wide competitions and stock tournaments. So this is like a really interesting and unique benefit that they can't get. The plan sponsor cannot get this anywhere else but through the 401k advisor. So this is a really unique thing that advisors can offer. But we kind of already talked about the end user or the plan participant, but they're gaining full access to our library, and it's growing constantly. We have plans for additional curriculums, personal finance, real estate, insurance, entrepreneurship, even, there's a whole bunch of curriculums that we want to release and make available for these premium users who are made premium by the 401k advisor.
Nice.
But this is the real question. Like this is why I'm here. This is what,
how do you get a 401k advisor to bring this up?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's a couple of pieces of value that we aim to provide to a 401k advisor. So the first is a deepened connection with the plan sponsor. And this is because you're providing them that unique benefit of Stockmotion. Hey, here's a wellness and lifestyle benefit that you can use with your employees. Really easy to do. Here's the link. That kind of strengthens your connection and also differentiates your services from other advisors. Because this is something that unless an advisor is already working with Stockmotion, this is going to be something that's straight from you. Now, also through the app, you have a much more direct connection to the end user, helping them get to know who you are as their company's 401k advisor. And when they know you better, it's a lot easier. If you provide additional financial services, it's a lot easier for them to be approached by you and feel like, oh, I already know who this person is. I feel comfortable with them. I've seen their face.
It brings them back in the picture, away from outsourcing it to the record keeper.
Yeah.
Which to me in the future is one of the most important things an advisor needs to pay attention to, is not just giving everything to the record keeper and let them handle it all. Like there's technology like this and other technology that will make them the brand that the employees look to for help and advice. But if you don't use it, technology, like you run out of time. So this is, you're absolutely right. Like connecting with them on that level is super critical.
And this also provides like another way, I know this is kind of a cutthroat industry when it comes to rates and getting in with opening up new plans with businesses. This is just another way to kind of become more sticky for a company. This is something that is unique and provides value to them. And so this is something the company is like, oh, we're excited about this. But what we think is something that advisors will be really interested in is our ability to generate qualified leads for additional financial. If you offer additional financial services like 401k rollovers, opening up IRAs, even offering financial advising, these are things that we can connect the end users directly with you. And let me talk to that a little bit. So when we say qualified lead, I know that means something different to everybody, but when we say that, we're really talking about 5 like insight clusters. So the first is the obvious contact information, name, phone, email address, things like that. But the second is a comprehensive profile on the user's investment preferences, investor personality as determined by, we put together drawing from behavioral finance, the 4 investor personalities. Other insightful metrics like quiz scores, things like how have they engaged with the app? What have they learned? How far are they through the curriculum? Things like that. So you have kind of at least a basis on what is their experience level with investing. And when I talk to them, are they going to understand what I'm saying? Like, how do I need to approach them? The third is risk tolerance. This is huge. And currently, when we say risk tolerance, we're talking about their self-identified risk tolerance, which, as we know, is not always accurate. But what we're working on is a secondary measure to analyze their risk tolerance ourselves. And then we can kind of compare those two. And I think that tells you something interesting in and of itself if the two are different. If somebody thinks that they're high risk tolerance, but we say they're low risk tolerance, that might tell you that they don't understand what the risk tolerance really is.
The average person doesn't get it. They all want the best return. They don't want any risk. They don't want any downside. It's like, you gotta find a balance there. You can't have both.
Absolutely.
And it's a hard conversation sometimes.
And that's why I put that caveat on there, is because right now we just have their self-identified risk tolerance. And when we incorporate that I think that will provide additional context there. The fourth insight cluster is what opportunity for additional financial services has this user expressed interest in or is relevant to this person? Have they indicated that they have an old 401k? Do they have a new 401k? Might they be interested in rolling that over? Have they pointed out that they have a need for additional financial guidance that we can't offer them? We don't give guidance or advice, but do they have that need? Can we connect them with their advisor if they offer that financial service? And then the last type is just our technology is analyzing the likelihood of that lead panning out. So whether they're, whatever their needs or interests are, what is the likelihood that as you approach them, that they're willing to have an open dialogue about that?
Awesome. It's a good,
when we talk about
things that are valuable to get. It's hard to track all that.
Yeah. And we know like this kind of information is something that, advisors, as they sit down and talk with people, are having these, directed conversations to figure out if we can fast forward that and have at least a snapshot idea of these things. We think it's a lot easier for advisors to get in and say, hey, I know you might be interested in a 401k rollover. Are they familiar with investing already? Or are they familiar with what a rollover even is? Because if they're not, that might change the way that you approach them. And so all of this is information that we think is valuable and helpful and available to the advisor all before even picking up the phone to call them. And so when we say qualified lead, that's what we mean. And one of the big questions that I get a lot about this is how do we generate these leads? And the process is actually really easy. We have a series of quizzes, surveys, and activities that involve user input. And as they take those activities and quizzes, they are developing more knowledge and confidence around investing. So it's helping them, but it's also providing our system with enough data and insights to generate a user profile. And we use that user profile to personalize their experience, to tailor the content that they're getting, their experiences, their quizzes, things like that, so that they're having a more directed experience. But this is where it gets interesting. When we can regularly analyze these profiles, we can determine what financial services that they might be interested in. We have some where we are asking direct questions about 401k rollovers. In our curriculum, we talk about what even is a rollover, and then ask them, have you done this before? Do you have one that you need to do currently? So we have some pretty interesting insights into this kind of thing from the game standpoint. And then when we share them with the financial or 401k advisor, well, at that point, you can go to the end user or plan participant and confidently approach them with a clear idea of why, what do they need from me? How can I help them? And that's what it's all about. It's about providing value to each of these parties involved. And we just want to be the glue that brings all these pieces together, that tightens the relationship between the advisor and the plan sponsor, between the advisor and the participant, and even between the company and employee, through these fun company activities like a stock investing tournament. We have some other ideas that we've been kicking around as well. But that's really what it comes down to, is we'd like to be the glue that tightens all these pieces together.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. I mean, it's a lot of data, and it's a lot of times hard for us to extract anything valuable out of the record keeper data. So this is another way to take it to the next level. So what is this like? What's the next step? Like, how does an advisor get involved? Where are you? How does this monetize? How do you make money? Explain Absolutely. Some of that for us.
For sure. So yeah, we're excited to announce we're opening up a pilot program here in about a month, maybe a little bit sooner. And we'd like to partner with 401k advisors. And over a shorter period of time, we're looking at 4 months right now. Okay. And essentially open up this platform, the admin portal, for advisors to go in, send invites out to their sponsors, however many people that they want to invite. We're going to include 50 free end users as part of this pilot program. And if 50 is enough for you, then that's great. Just, it's a free pilot program. If you want more seats, we can make that happen. We're just attaching a small fee for that. Just let us know if you want more seats, and we can do that. That's how we'll monetize on the pilot program, but we're not really focused on that in this. We want to ensure that this product results in the outcomes that are valuable for each party. Like we've been saying, we want to make sure that our qualified leads are valid and are resulting in good outcomes for the advisors. So that's kind of the purpose of this pilot program, is to really, test out the waters, make sure that this fits across the board. And then when we circle back, the way that we're going to monetize on this is we'll essentially be charging a per seat fee, and it'll be small. And that's kind of our monetization as far as the 401k advisor part goes. And then we'll be sending qualified leads directly to you, like we talked about. And at least for this pilot program, and certainly beyond the pilot program, but especially in the pilot program, we're going to be working on a lot of new features. And I can explain some of those coming up, but as they're available, we'll make them open to 401k advisors to opt in or out of, in kind of like a beta release pattern. So we have tournaments that are in the pipelines right now. When that's ready to go, we'll add it to the admin portal, and if the advisor wants to test it out, they can, or they cannot if they don't want to. But the kind of the last thing that we're doing as part of this pilot program is, for people who do sign up, we're going to be offering a discounted plan to people who were pilot partners and helped us to really refine this product and experience. We value the relationship that we'll be building with these pilot partners. So the way to get involved in this is, in a couple of slides, I'll share some contact information. Just reach out to me directly at this point, and we can figure out how to get this hooked up and try out the waters. I think that this is going to be something that is really valuable. And when it comes to the end application, we've been using this through the App Store, the framework, for some, I don't know, I think it was nine or 10 months thereabout. So we feel very confident with the stability of the platform. What we really want to know is how we can perfect this so that the end results for a 401k advisor are there. They're exactly what we say they are, and they're better than we say they are. And we know that the end user is finding value out of this, because we have pretty good adoption rates on our free miniature version of this that's on the App Store right now. So that's the purpose of the pilot.
This is the perfect chance, for, I think about different industries that 401k advisors might be working with, where they're trying to come up with, what other value can I keep bringing? How can I keep relevant? What can I do to really move the needle? And this is a great tool, I think, to give it a shot. And it's probably not something an advisor is going to roll out to the whole book, obviously, because it's new, but there might be, one of those plans that has a group of employees that are always calling, always asking questions, always taking, a lot of time from you. And this is one way to scale who you are without giving it away to someone else that's going to use this data for their good, which is a hot debate right now in this industry, as far as who owns the data and who should be able to access and use it. I fully believe that the advisor is there in the right place to bring more value with using that data for good. rather than product pushing. And I think that's to me is what hopefully is motivating enough advisors to give it a shot. And then, as you get that feedback, I mean, I can only imagine how quick you've been able to do this, and like how I think good at listening from when we first talked to now. I mean, you've come a long way in just a short time. I'm sure through the pilot program, it's going to get so much better too. So
that's the entire purpose of it, is for us to say, hey, let's put this in the wild. Let's try this with, especially a couple of smaller businesses, and really make sure that this is something that is helping everyone. We're excited about it. We've been working really hard on this as a company, this pilot program, because we think this is a perfect fit. We think this can get in front of a lot of people through 401k advisors, but also provides really interesting opportunities for the advisors to be better equipped to reach out to these people if they want, or have people come to them already having a good basis and a good foundation when they come out and say, hey, I want to ask this question. Instead of asking you, should I buy a bunch of Bitcoin? Now they know what Bitcoin is, what diversification is. They come to you with these questions that you're like, wow, that's a really interesting question. Let's sit down and talk about this and open up a different kind of dialogue, if that's something that you offer.
Yeah, 100%. Like that comes up all the time. And I see the same person again, whenever we come back in, whether it's quarterly or annually or something. And I don't ever have something I can throw at them I would feel comfortable having them try. It's just, I kind of listen to them and try to give them, some tips in the short few minutes that I have, but to be able to actually give them a resource and say, and then the further they go along with it, the next time you see them, you kind of know a little bit more on your side because they've been using the app and you have some insight into that. So it makes sense. I think you're really onto something that potentially brings, it gets rid of the conflict of interest we're seeing with record keepers. And I know I keep bringing that up, but I just think it's a really interesting battle that it's going to get stronger and stronger in the future. As far as data, as far as who talks to the client, the end users the most, all that. And if you want to win as an advisor, you've got to be the one closest to the client. So
yeah,
I love it. So if they need to reach out to you, I'll probably on LinkedIn, or you can put up your contact info. What else do we worry about? What else do you want to share?
Well, the only other thing that I would say is just some of the features that we have in the pipelines. I wanted to put those out there in case anyone was interested. But that said, as part of the pilot, we want to hear ideas. We want to hear these ideas should be coming from advisors, not us. We want to hear, like, what do you want to make this better? But some of the ideas that we have are tournaments. We've talked about that, so I won't go back into that. Some white labeling options. We want to give advisors the ability to strategically display their firm's name, logo, contact information, pictures across the app, so the end users can see that advisor and be comfortable with knowing who they are. Additional content curriculums, we talked about that. Those are things that we have very much in active development right now, but we have a couple other ideas, but we'd love to hear from advisors. We'd love to hear, what features do you want? So as part of reaching out to either initiate the pilot program, or if you're in the pilot and you have an idea, we'd love to hear from you and hear how we can make this better. So I'm going to share my contact information on the next slide. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me, but also LinkedIn is fine. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. And just for general information, we're looking to start the pilot program in March. So if anyone watching this is interested in learning more or signing up, just let me know. Here's my contact information. But thank you so much for giving me the chance to get on, Jake, and share this. I think we have a really exciting opportunity here, and I hope that this is interesting for some of the people watching this.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hitting a big need. And I think even right now, as an advisor, if you want to check it out, it's live in the App Store. There's going to be other content, other things that would be in place or in the app when you use it as a pilot or later in the future. So just know that, but you can actually test it out and see kind of what the feel is like for it and participant employee that might want to check it out. So you're onto something. And I think it's really impressive what you have put together, and even just in a short amount of time. And I think the real ambition of what you're trying to achieve, is something that's valuable, that I think a lot of us share. So thanks for coming on, Kaden. Thanks for taking the time, and hopefully, we get to see some bigger results and a lot more people getting more financially fit. So
absolutely. That's the end goal. Thank you so much for having me on, Jake.
Yeah. Thanks, Kaden.